sharing best practices. And Brenda and I actually had an opportunity last week, which I hope she will share, that we actually met in person. We actually went to New York City. So I think last week the call was actually monitored by some of the others here. So I got to tell you, Brenda, it was great to see you. I'm sure it was likewise. And we just had a blast. So take it away.
All right, thank you. That was like perfect timing. It just the live stream just started picking up on YouTube. So thank you. And I want to remind everyone, because we are live streaming on YouTube, there's a chance if you talk today that either what you'll be sharing or your video could be public. So I just like to let everyone know about that, just so there's no surprises in here. And part of the reason I do the playback on YouTube is just to make it convenient for all of you in case you want to watch the playback again later. And the other thing is it's helping me to grow my YouTube channel. So you help me, I help you kind of an approach. And starting in August, I'll be announcing this in our next call, but starting in August, I'm going to be starting to convert these sessions into podcasts. And right now I'm playing around with the name of it, but for the job seeker group, I think you all know that I'm very passionate about working with the experience rich. I don't like to say mature job seeker or seasoned professional. I like to say experience rich. So since I've started using that catchphrase, that's kind of what I'm leaning towards in calling the podcast Experience Rich. And then there'll probably be a subheading underneath there. So let me know what you think about that. Go into chat. Let me know what you think about that as a topic. And basically what I'm going to do is just pull these shows and just plop them right into the podcast. So if we'll be explaining things on screen, I'll be referring people back to either the YouTube or the LinkedIn, or actually just the YouTube, because it won't be on LinkedIn. These are private. With all of that said, I want to thank Kenneth Lang so much for that lovely introduction. And Kenneth, you and I did get the chance to meet in person, and I want to pull both of us up on screen for just a second. And it, is so funny because Kenneth, I call you Kenneth, first of all, and most people call you Ken. And when we were in person, I'm like, and people are like, why do you call him Kenneth? I'm like, because when I first met him, I was calling him because that's his LinkedIn name, Kenneth Lang. And I think at one point I even asked you, do you have a preference, Kenneth or Ken? And I think you said either way is fine. So I just kept going with Kenneth, and I can't in my brain change it now. Just like my son, I call him Joshua. Everybody calls him Josh, but I can't. I call him the full name on it. At any rate, you and I are both introverts, and we were both nervous about meeting people in person and meeting each other in person, which doesn't it seem silly?
It does.
Kenneth.
I was freaking out. I mean, totally freaking out. And I'm sure you can relate to that. It's like, oh my God, it's meeting people I've never met. And it's like, then they get that moment, and then the barriers just break down. It's like,
Yeah. It was funny. It was like, I was telling everyone, it's like meeting a celebrity, because you see people and you're like, you look exactly like you
right,
look online. And like, why wouldn't we? Because we are our
right.
person. But it's like when you meet, if you've ever met a celebrity, someone from TV or from the movies in person, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's this person. And, immediately the awkward strips away. We hugged, we got to know each other. And it was a delight meeting you the first time in person. I'm sure we'll see each other again in person. But you did a LinkedIn Live on Tuesday with a couple of us that were at the event. And the interesting thing is we weren't going, originally it wasn't going to LinkedIn. It was just, let's meet up in New York. And we met at a coffee shop. There happened to be a Starbucks Reserve in the same building as the LinkedIn headquarters we ended up meeting at. And someone had a connection at LinkedIn that ended up getting us a tour. So it was like, I mean, kid at a candy shop on Christmas morning was like, there was like two things happening. We were meeting people for the first time, that we were, hugging each other and everything. And then we were at LinkedIn headquarters, and there was like signs, and we were taking pictures and walking around the building, but there wasn't an event per se. And people were saying, well, did LinkedIn ask you guys questions? Did they give you information? We're like, no,
Cool.
we were just walking around with, there was employees that were touring the building with us, but it really was just pure networking, right? Kind of.
It was. We were just chatting about things. We would have conversations on the side. I love the video you put up of us, just getting together, because it was reminding me of like the fifth or sixth graders or seventh graders all trying to be herded in for that one moment. But it was about conversations, not about selling, just talking about things. And it was so much fun. I mean, I was looking forward to it for so long, and we've just been chatting about the whole week, actually, and it won't stop.
Yeah, and there's some great posts. I'm going to see if I can find the video post that you were referring to. So when
Yeah.
everyone else was taking the group photo of all of us in the lobby before the tour started, I handed one of the LinkedIn employees my phone and I said, "Can you just videotape this? Like just hit record as we're posing for the video." And then someone was taking a couple pictures and people were like, "Which camera are we looking at?" And the other lady said, "Oh, I'm just taking video." And everybody was laughing and you got to see us like in the pose and then not pose and just interacting. It's a really fun shot. So Kenneth, thank you again for being here today and for organizing. I mean, you were I think the ringleader for the whole thing,
I
getting
don't
it
know.
started, really.
I'll say
You can take credit. It's okay.
as an introvert, this is what I do well. I manage, I coordinate, and I let things hopefully play out because I'm not the person that's going to maybe make all the calls per se. So I want to use that as an opportunity. And one
Yeah.
thing has led to another, because if you guys didn't want to come, it was just going to be Rachel and Bobby and me. But oh my God, it just happened to work out that way.
Yeah. Well, while I have you on screen here, I'm going to ask the all-stars if you could raise your hand. So the people who are in the group who helped me run the group sometime, raise your hand if you could. And I'm going to pull us in like a grid view as we do this right now. Christopher Johnson is in the room with us as well. So maybe he'll help with us. I'm going to try to keep 4 people on the screen at a time. I'll be one, and then let's put the next 2 on there as well. So these are people who are career strategy experts, coaches, who I've already voluntold that you'll be helping with the meeting or asked you to help facilitate the meeting sometime. Christopher, I'm actually going to pull you up on here as well. So maybe we'll keep you and I, and then we'll do the 4th person. So we'll go in this order. We'll do Kenneth first, then Christopher, then Joey. And then Christopher, if I could ask you to help to keep 4 in a grid at a time as we do this. Afterwards, we'll have Al, then Mindy, and then Linda. And I think that's the full group. And then Linda, after you, it'll be back to me, and then we'll keep us going here. So Kenneth, the floor is yours.
Morning, everyone. Kenneth Lang here. I'm currently a coach for Lehigh Harrison, a brand specialist. Been doing a lot of work with people who've just lost their jobs. And one of the things that has been very sobering to me is seeing how people have challenges just even getting started networking. And so I focus on pretty much the 45 and older because I am of that age. And there are different challenges. So reach out to me and connect. This week, I also do Tuesday weekly LinkedIn Lives. And I'm doing a conversation with a salesperson about selling yourself a job search, which is something most people don't, I think, do well, which is how to sell yourself and market yourself. So again, Brenda, thank you so much for this community. It's been a pleasure being here. I'll still be here, of course, probably not every week, but that's all well. And just to let you guys know, I met Joey Himmelfarb in person. So I got to take credit for that. I met Sue Griffey in person. I mean, we met. So I'm getting through each of you. So Christopher and Brenda, when I head your way, we got to take care of that and etc. So looking forward to it. Thanks.
Well, good morning. Christopher Johnson. The name of my company is Calm Clear Communications. And what I do is help people have engaged events on virtual platforms, such as Zoom. If you're looking to improve your comfort level with Zoom or streaming platforms, let me know. I've placed my information into the chat. Reach out, connect with a note, and let's get going. Brenda, I have one small request to make.
Sure.
May I be co-host? That way I can help.
I didn't make you a co-host yet. You may absolutely be co-host, please. Thank you. There we go. Because now you can help to do the spotlights. You couldn't do that without. Now, Christopher is our resident Zoom expert. I think you all know on this too. So thank you for that, Christopher. So I'm going to remove myself from the camera, and then we'll go next to Al, and then we'll do Mindy, and then Linda will be next, if you could help with it.
Good morning. I'm Al Smith. I'm in Atlanta. I've been a career coach for about a dozen years and have a couple of books. One was an Amazon #1 bestseller. And I'm looking forward to being with Mindy in a couple of weeks.
And Mindy, you're next.
Okay, great. So happy to be with you guys today. This is my Friday happy moment when I get to see all of my friends who are and colleagues who are helping job seekers, and all of you job seekers who we love to help. So it's a very mutual a beautiful, beautiful mutual admiration society. We love you all. We are here to help you with any questions you have. I am a career coach. I am happy to answer any questions you have. And I also run a group called the Accelerators. And the Accelerators is a group that's been around since right when COVID started. And we have helped so many job seekers get the jobs that they want. I host a monthly call, a free Zoom event. And a lot of people who are here have already spoke on that call. Brenda has been there, Kenneth's been there, Al is coming up in a couple of months. I have Sue coming up in a couple of months. Joey's coming up in a couple of months. Linda, we got to get you on the calendar. But it's just a joy to be a part of it. I'm going to put the information into the chat. It is always free. It is there for you to learn and grow. And that's what we love to do. So, love to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, Brenda, and wishing you all a wonderful July day.
Like many others here, I'm a job search coach. What I do is that I work with people one-on-one, a lot of individual coaching activities to help you find and highlight your transferable skills in all of your marketing materials, whether it's your resume, your interview stories, even just trying to decide what it is you want to do. I'm excited to announce that actually today is my first day as a self-employed career coach. I finally pulled the plug. I'm doing this on my own now, completely. I've been doing it on the side, but now I'm on my own. So if you all have ideas, by the way, for what I can call myself, because I haven't done that yet, I would love to hear them. But in the meantime, I'm going to put my contact information in the chat. Reach out anytime. My goal is to help everyone find that next forever job. Sue.
Thanks, Linda. I love being here also. I'm excited to be on the last official every week call, but I'll be around in all the calls that I can attend. I'm the mentor with Pom Poms. I have a global mentoring practice, and my focus is on helping you at every level of transition that you're in, helping you excavate your evidence and really show the results that you can deliver, not just tell people about them. And you'll always see me, as you did with Linda. I'm so excited to hear that you've announced it. You went ahead and did it. That's so great. I also want to put in a plug for Christopher. Brenda, you know, because I copied you on the request. I've put a post up about Christopher, who's going to start offering his services more widely to people, probably one-time group sessions on some things like I ran into. I started doing LinkedIn Lives, but I didn't know how to do them. So Christopher, I'm excited that you're going to be available to all of us for your calm, clear voice and your calm, clear teaching and learning beyond the VIP meeting. So I had to give him a plug.
Thank you.
Christopher, do you want to speak about that a little bit? Because I wasn't aware. So I'd like to know, and I know if I would like to know, because maybe I'll spread the word to other people. There might be other people that are interested. Tell us a little bit about it. And have you posted about it recently where we could comment on and or share the post along with people? Hint, hint.
You know, the hint was very subtle. Thank you. While working with Sue yesterday, we had this idea. She said, you know, you should really turn this into an office hours. And, you know, that's not a bad idea. So an office hours to encompass both StreamYard and Zoom, so that people can have greater comfort and facility with virtual platforms. I will set a post up about that. In the meantime, you can also add to Sue's outstanding post about that she made this morning.
All right. So we'll have to grab Sue's post. Sue, if you're able to do so, to drop it into chat, feel free. If not, maybe Julia can help us with that. All right. So we're going to jump right in here, and I want to see who is on the call. So I'm just going to go through the participant list real quick. We've got a lot of people on, so I'll do this quickly, but I want to see, this gives me a chance to see who's on with us. So good morning and welcome to all of you, to Joey, Kenneth, Mindy, Sue, Christopher, Al, Al Smith, Alyssa, Amanda, Andrew, Arshad, Bev, Kate, Kioma, Chris, Maria, Lewis, Dana B, Dana S, Daniel, David, Dean, Debbie, Deborah, Diana, Diane, Elizabeth, Julia, my intern, is here helping us out. Thank you, Julia. Herman, Joan, John, Julia, Karen, Katie, Kelly, Kaiser, Laura, Leslie, Linda, Lisa, nice to see you. Mary, Mary S. and Mary D, Melissa, Michelle, Nancy, Nicole, Pretty, Randy, Seksha, Sandra, Scott, Shelley, Tara, Taya, Tina, Timothy, Vickers, Wayne, and Wendy. I am delighted to see such a big group here today. We've got 60 people on the call with us this morning, and I know there's a good chance there's at least one or two of you who are brand new to the call today. I would love to invite you to introduce yourself. If you are new, go into chat right now and type in the word new in all caps, just N-E-W. I'm going to do an example of that, and then I'm going to pull you up on screen, and we're just going to do a brief introduction. What we're going to do is I'm going to just have you tell us your targeted job title, okay, your targeted geographic area, and then I'll ask you to drop your introduction into chat using the same information as you just did. And I'm going to put this in the chat again so you can read this off as you're doing it. We don't need to hear I don't want to say we don't need to. In the essence of time, I really just want to get targeted job title, targeted geographic area. Oh, and then how did you hear about us is the other thing that we'd like to look for. Okay, so I see a few folks that have indicated they are new. So Deborah, you will go first. Deborah Hurwitz, followed by Diane Rogers, and then we'll go to Dana Berger. So Deborah, how are you doing today? Are you able to unmute yourself? There we go. All right.
Hello, nice to meet you all. I'm Deborah Hurwitz. I'm in the New York City. I'm in New York City. I'm looking for content lead, manager, or senior manager roles. I am a communications leader in the New York metro area. Thank you.
Awesome. And how did you hear about us? Did you say?
I was referred to you through a good friend, Lauren Pearl.
Okay, good. Well, we're glad that you found us and delighted that you're here with us. Make
Thanks
sure
for
that you
having
drop your LinkedIn URL into the chat there, and we'll be happy to connect with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Diane Rogers, I think, is next. Christopher, if you can find her first, feel free. Or if I can find her, one of the two of us will. But Diane Rogers, can you unmute yourself? Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Coming to you live from a very hot and steamy Boston. Where isn't it hot and steamy right now? I am the Human Resources Director and Project Director. I'm looking for similar roles. Most of my experience has been in healthcare, so I'm looking for something in healthcare or other industries in the greater Boston area, but I'm also open to remote, US remote. And I was referred to you by a friend and colleague.
All right. Well, wonderful. Well, we're glad to have you, Diane, and hopefully folks can connect with you. Reminder to drop your introduction into chat and make sure you include your URL. If you did it before, Diane, do it again now, because now that we've introduced you, it'll pop you to the top of the feed in there, if you wouldn't mind.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay. I think we have one more, and then we're going to jump in here. Dana Berger. So Dana, good morning and welcome. How are you today?
Hey, good morning. Thank you. Good to be here. I am looking for a senior customer success manager position or an equivalent. It might be a client success manager, principal success manager. There's a variety of ways they will post these positions. I am located in Metro Atlanta, Georgia. However, I am actually looking for a remote position. The kind of company I'm going to work for is going to be SaaS software. I don't limit myself to what kind of software, meaning what industry the software is used by. Generally open. I think it was Diane. I also have a lot of experience in healthcare, not necessarily looking to stick with healthcare software. I am flexible there. I have found out about you yesterday from Al Smith, the hired guy, who is also on our call today. I am working with him on my job search and enjoying that. So thank you for letting me do my introduction.
Wonderful. Well, welcome to the group, Dana. We're glad that you found us. And I'm going to say this to you, Dana, as well as for everyone else. You may not be glad that you're here because it means that you are in career transition, in between successes, unemployed, underemployed, any of those things you want to call it. But we are glad that you're here and that you have found us. And I want you to know that this is a place that you can come to. You can build connections. hopefully by the end of the call, you'll feel like, gosh, that was time well spent. You're feeling inspired. You're feeling like you're part of a group, part of a team, part of a community again. And part of the reason I created these calls is I've gone through career transition, not by choice myself, and it's happened to me twice in my career. And I know how that feels. I know how it feels to go from being one day part of a team and you're doing the work and you're helping each other and you're helping to support the company. And maybe even you've been in a company where you know the company is in trouble. So you're doing more work and you're putting in later nights and evenings and weekends, and you're trying to be part of the solution to turn things around. And then you get tapped on the shoulder and asked to pull to a conference room, or you get a really weird email followed by a phone call, or sometimes people are pulled into a Zoom and people are told, hey, everybody on the Zoom is being let go. Whatever happened, you go from one moment being a part of the team, part of the company, and then the next moment you're like an outsider. And in those situations, I've had, different scenarios of it where you're escorted out of the building, you're given a pitiful cardboard box to take your personal possessions, and then you're immediately locked out of your computer and exit out of the building. And it's just really weird because like the day before, I was doing the things to help the company out, and I was sacrificing time from my family. I was sacrificing evenings and weekends, and I was doing everything to try to help the company. And now all of a sudden I'm on the outside looking in, and it feels very weird and it's very isolating. And I remember in the days to follow after that, as the news started to trickle out, I was surprised who reached out to me and who didn't reach out to me. And over time, it's almost like, I don't know if it's survivor's guilt, the people that are left at the company, they feel guilty that they're still there and you're not, or they just are doing what they need to do to survive. But I was kind of like, I was like your best bud at work. You were sometimes we call these your work wife, your work husband, or, your bestie at work. And all of a sudden you're not anymore. And it feels kind of weird. And when you're in career transition, it can feel isolating. And I don't like that feeling. And I don't want anyone to feel like they're alone in the process. Look around the screen right now. We've got 62 total people on the call, many of which are just like you. You are in career transition. So you're not alone. I want you to know that there's a lot of other people that are in a similar situation. And I want you to keep in mind, this is temporary. Where you are right now is just a stop in your career. It's a hiatus, if you will. And you're in the summer months. So maybe you're getting to get out and enjoy the summer months a little bit while you're on hiatus. I like that expression, right? You are just in between successes is all you are. And sometimes when I use that phrase in between successes, it reminds me of an Oreo cookie. Follow me along for a second here. You got the cookie on this side, you got the cookie on the other side, and then you got the frosting in the middle, right? So the cookie on the one side is your job that you were at, the job that you are no longer working. The cookie on the other side is your next job, because you'll get there. You're not going to be in the middle forever, but that's where you're going to be. So right now you're just the frosting in the middle, my friend. So enjoy this sweet spot that you're in while you're in right now, because someday you'll be back to work and you're going to be missing the Friday calls that you're on. No, you won't. Maybe you will a little bit, but my goal is to not see you on these calls, because our goal is to get you back to work. So what we'll be doing in about the next half hour is we'll be taking some of your questions. So if you do have a question, I want you to go into chat and type in all caps the word question followed by the question that you have. And I want you to type in the full question, because we may or may not get to all questions here today. So if I type in question, do you like coffee? And this is just an example. You can tell me if you like coffee, feel free, but this is just an example of what I want you to do. In all caps in chat, type the word question followed by your question. You may have a question regarding getting your job search started, maybe a question regarding resume, career search strategy, using LinkedIn for job search. Maybe you'd like us to look at your LinkedIn profile. We can pull you up on screen, give you some tips. It's really up to you. Whatever your questions are as related to your job search, feel free to ask them. Alternatively, I would like to look for success stories as well. So maybe you have a success story that you would like to share with us. And if you do have a success story, just type in the word success in all caps in chat. SUCCESS. I feel like I'm in a spelling bee every time I do that. Success. And then I'll call on you and we'll ask you to share what your success is. Your success might be, I got a job. See you later, Brenda and team, because I'm not going to be on these calls anymore. A success might be, I got an interview. That's a step towards what you're looking for, right? A step might be, hey, I've been following your LinkedIn advice and I'm getting more people connecting with me on LinkedIn, or more recruiters and hiring managers are getting into conversations with me. Success might be, hey, I got my resume updated thanks to the help of Mindy or Linda or someone else. I don't know, whatever it is on the call, but anything that you deem to be a success, we want to hear about it because that does help to motivate others that are on the call. So don't be shy about that. Guess I am an introvert. All that means, it doesn't mean I don't like public speaking. It just means after we're done with the call, I'm going to go on a quiet walk with my dog and not talk to human beings for an hour. That's all that means. Okay, so let's see who has a question or a success story. I'm going to go into chat and see what I can find in here, and then I might ask Julia to help me as well. All right. Priti Shah has a question. Priti, are you able to unmute yourself? And please do correct me if I've said your first name incorrectly. Are you able to unmute?
Yep, I'm unmuted.
Okay. Okay, did I say your name correctly, first of all?
Preeti. The T is like a Spanish TH. Preeti.
Preeti. Okay, good. All right, so you said you're attempting a unique approach to the about section by bringing more personality instead of the typical mundane professional summary. Would you recommend this? Okay, I'm going to pull your profile up on screen. Before I answer that for you, can you tell us what is your targeted job title and your targeted geographic area?
Oh, that's a good question. Right now, I'm just want to be a creative trainer, problem solver, whether it's technical or soft skills or the arts. And okay. I'm located in Metro Detroit.
Metro Detroit. Are you in Metro Detroit right now?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm looking for your profile and I'm finding
Birmingham, Michigan.
Okay, there's someone in Boston who's coming up as my first search result. So let me try to P-R-I-T. Oh, I spelled it incorrectly. That's why.
Okay.
All right. You're a professor at University of Michigan?
No, I get confused with her,
but
no.
Okay. Open to work as a creative trainer, problem solver. Does that sound like you?
Yep.
Okay. And you're looking for, what is your targeted job title that you're looking for again?
I'm actually not sure. Maybe a consultant or a trainer or somewhere in Center of Excellence, corporate accountability.
Okay. So your question is, you're trying a different approach to your about statement. What do you think? So I'm going to give you, before I even look at it, I'm going to just tell you what I look for first and foremost is what do you have in the first 4 lines? Because most people will not click on see more. Okay. So I want to make sure that we're thinking about what are your goals for using LinkedIn? In this case, it's job search. Who is your ideal target audience that you're trying to reach? In your case, it's going to be a recruiter or a hiring manager. So I want to make sure that this is written for them to capture their attention, with the goal of the first 4 lines being click on see more. And I see somebody's using the drawing tool right now. I'm not sure who's using that. Just keep going here though. The goal is to click on see more. So I'm going to look at what you have inside there. And I don't know, Christopher, if you can undo the red lines on there as not or as co-host. But inside here, as a first generation American, I've learned diplomatic and emotional artistry. Okay. I am your considerate and creative director. So what I'm looking for in the first few lines here, Priti, is what is your targeted job title? Because if I'm a recruiter or hiring manager, you got to catch my attention. I know what you're trying to do, but if you're trying to be too clever with all of it, I'm busy. I'm looking at a million LinkedIn profiles all the time. And it's hard for me to get right away. So I want to make sure that we're getting right away what it is that you're looking for. Then I click on see more. So what I like about this is it is a little bit of your backstory, your career, or backstory, a little bit about your personality, your life, things like that. What I would love to see is in the first paragraph, I really want to see what is your targeted job title and what can you bring to a company? So if I hire you, what are you going to do for my company? So let's just say, for example, let's say a training specialist, because I see that you have open to work training specialist. So what if you were to say instead, I am an experienced training specialist who helps organizations to empower their employees through education, coaching, and mentoring. If by joining your team, you can help to see in improved results to your bottom line, greater employee engagement, and more. To learn more about, chatting with me, connect with me here on LinkedIn, or send me an email to prithvi@gmail.com, for example. So why not start off with something right off the bat that kind of says, hey, if you bring me on, here's what you get. And then maybe the second paragraph is your backstory. As a first generation American, so then we get into the background of those things. Maybe the third paragraph is a bit about why you're passionate about training. So a little bit of that backstory. I've always been one to to have a knack for breaking down complex concepts and teaching it to others and helping to understand individuals and their goals and whatnot. So that's my initial thought on that. I don't mind creative about statements, and you've got 2,600 characters to work with, but I want to get to the point a little bit more quickly in the beginning and then use the rest of that for a backstory. Prithi, if you're okay, I'm going to go through the other all-stars and see what advice they have, and then we'll come back to you for your thoughts. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. All right, Joey, then Al, and then Kenneth. So Joey, what advice do you have for Prithi?
So building on what Brenda said, Prithi, if you look at the first sentence of your about section, you have to understand that when you're looking for work, you're selling yourself. And so the hiring manager, who is effectively your client, doesn't care about you. What do they care about? Themselves. So when they read the first line of your about section, what I usually tell people is that whatever you write and whatever people read, imagine in their mind they're saying to themselves that when they get to the period, so what? So when I read the first line there and it tells me that you're a first generation American, so what, right? You've learned diplomatic and emotional artistry. So what, right? So to Brenda's point, what can you do for me? Because I don't care where you're from. I care what can you do to make my life better? And if you can get that in the four lines, to Brenda's point, you're way ahead of the game, and you are different than everybody else who writes exactly what you wrote.
I appreciate that.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, Joey. Al, what do you have?
A couple of things. I think everybody should have a banner background behind their picture so that when a recruiter finds you, they know exactly what you do before they even read this first word. And second, determining what your next job title is exceptionally important. If a recruiter will start out with the requisition they have open, searching there, adding 3 to 5 sets of keywords or long tail strings of keywords. So if you don't have those, and the headline tends to carry the heaviest weight in the LinkedIn algorithm. So you want to use as many of those 220 characters as possible. So you want to use a combination of job title and keywords. That's my suggestion. So there you go.
Appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, Al, Kenneth, and then we'll go to Mindy.
Well, just to piggyback again, it's a waste to say open to work and then say open to work as a creative trainer problem solver. I mean, that's just a duplication of effort. So you have the 220 characters to market yourself. I think that's a big miss, but part of it is really figuring out what you want to do and knowing what you do and don't want to do. And, at the same time, I like to hide when people have the people also viewed next to you there, because then that's in the settings, because you don't want people to leave your real estate. You want them to find you. And that's also based on how your profile is put together. So maybe those people aren't even relevant to your industry. So those are just a couple of my suggestions.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kenneth. Mindy, what do you have to share?
I think they've covered it. Mostly, to me, is the headline that has to be improved for sure. Love a background picture for sure. You do have your 50 skills, but I would definitely encourage you to start reading job descriptions really well and looking at those titles, because you've got to get the titles, things that people are actually searching for, into both your headline and your about section so people find you. Otherwise, you don't want to be invisible. You want to be found, right? That's why you have your open to work sign up there. So that, I think that's good, but definitely start focusing on the job titles that you're really focused on.
Thank you, Mindy. And then Prithi, one more thing, and then we'll see if you have any comments for our group. And this is a point I want to make to everyone who's on the call here today. Look at your LinkedIn headline and any words where you have, like, I'm just going to highlight this on here just to show you as an example. If you have trainer / problem solver or a word / another word and there's no spaces in between, I almost want you to think about hiding both of those words. Those will not come up in search results because LinkedIn will not see the word trainer at all, because it reads it as trainer / problem, which is not a word that people would type in. It's in that way. So if you use slash marks or any separators, make sure that before the slash mark and after the slash mark, you have a space. Then LinkedIn can read the word trainer as a word and the word problem as a word. So that's a general sentiment there. All right, Prithi, was that helpful for you today?
That was super, super helpful. I really appreciate it, because I consider myself a retired engineer. I have my bachelor's and master's in engineering, and I am trying to transition to this other face, and I wasn't really sure how to do it. And this was immensely helpful. So I appreciate it.
Good, thank you. And that might be even something to weave into your about statement. Sometimes I see people saying ex Facebook or former Ford or things like that. What if you were to say, and I've seen people, I saw somebody do this. I thought this is the most clever thing. Your next training specialist. So they kind of like put that in their job title, your next, whatever. You all can use that if you want. Feel free to use it. I think it was actually my nephew the first time I saw it, and he said, your next IT manager. And I'm like, that's really clever. That's like assuming the sale for people that are reading it. But what if you were to say your next training specialist, former engineer? Because what that tells me right away is the type of trainer that you will be, you have an engineering background, so something to think about inside there. All right, Priti, thank you so much for being our first volunteer today. I see that there are a few hands that are raised for others that have success stories and questions. If you could use the raise hand, I'll give you priority attention in here. I see Nicole has her hand raised. So Nicole, you're going to be up next for us. What's happening? Give you a second to unmute. There you go. Hey, Nicole.
So I actually shared this on last week's call too, but I did get an offer for a position that I interviewed for. So last week on Wednesday, I did an interview and it went really well. And then the guy made an offer for Thursday. He basically made the offer to the agency. So it's a contract to direct position and it's at Bosch. So I'm really excited about that. I do get to still do technical writing, and the official title is basically more of a researcher role. But yeah, starting at August 14th.
That's awesome. I am so excited for you. And if I'm remembering correctly, this is a 1-year contract with a possibility of converting to full time. Is that what I'm remembering correctly?
Yes.
Okay. I'm so excited. I listened to the call and I listened to about half of it. I still got to listen to the rest. And by the way, thank you to those of you who ran the call. I'm sorry for not mentioning it earlier. Thank you so much for running the call in my absence last week. You guys did a great job. I did hear a bit of that. So Nicole, we're delighted to have you on these calls. And we're also going to be delighted to see you not being on the calls because you'll be back to work. That's great. Any advice for fellow job seekers based on your experience with getting this particular position? Anything to share?
Wow. Okay. So yes. First off, one thing that you want to do is you definitely want to optimize your LinkedIn profile. What I mean by that is you want to pack in keywords that apply to what you're looking for, so that you come up in more searches. You also want to make sure that you don't okay, you end the job, right? Let's say you get laid off or something like that, and then you go ahead and you put an end date on the end of the job or what have you. You could either put like a volunteer position after that or something along those lines, so that way you still show as having an open position. The only reason I say that is because you'll come up in less searches otherwise. The last thing is to make a schedule, so that way you don't end up out, because otherwise what happens is you try to do all this stuff, and that's what happened with me. Basically, I like to start off the day with LinkedIn, and then I go into this, and then I go into that. So I made a schedule which actually allows me to take 30 minutes minimum in the morning, from 6 to 7 or something like that, where I actually do the networking on LinkedIn, reaching out, sending warm contacts or connection requests. Don't ever send cold connection requests, by the way. It just creeps people out. So, so yeah. And then the rest of the time, then I'm either talking to recruiters that I've already worked with, or I'm putting in applications. But most importantly, do not sit there and focus completely on putting in applications on the job boards. That is a very small portion of the job search, because really it's a lot more about getting your name out there. A lot of times people will see, oh, this person has these skills that way, and so on and so forth. The employer will find you if you do it that way, and it makes it a little bit easier. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Nicole. So yeah, I think you'll be on for maybe another week with us, or maybe the next session, if you're able to, if you want to. But you're always welcome to come back, and I'm delighted to be here to celebrate your success. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. Okay, so Taya had messaged me in chat, and she said, "Hey, remember you said come on to the Friday call?" And I said yes. So Taya, can you come up on screen? Are you able to unmute yourself And thank you for messaging me to remind me, because I have like mom brain, and I don't even apologize for it. I'm just explaining it. It's mom brain. My first child, I was totally fine. After having my second child, who's now 12, but she was a very bad sleeper. And I think it just, it distorted or ruined so many brain cells that my short-term memory is not as good. But Taya and I did a coaching session. And I think what we were going to do today is we're going to do an endorsement party. Is that okay with you, Taya?
That's fine with me, Brenda. Thank you so much. And
am I saying your first name correctly too?
Yes, you are. And I just want to reiterate the value that I got out of the sessions that we did, Brenda. Thank you so much. I just feel so much better about my profile now. You made so many great recommendations. So thank you very, very much.
Oh, that I live for the thank yous and for celebrating people's successes and getting you to jobs. So thank you. That means a lot to me. So here's what we're going to do. I put Taya's LinkedIn URL into chat. And during our coaching call, we had discussed skills and how having more endorsements helps you to come up to the top of search results. And I think she had added some new skills to her profile and rearranged them. And really what I'm looking to do here is to help her to get more endorsements for her top 3 skills. So if you're already connected to Taya, please go to her profile and then just click on the endorse button next to her top 3 skills. Mine says check endorsed because I've already endorsed her for them. If you're not yet connected with Taya, you'll have to send her an invitation to connect. And then after she accepts it, then you'll be able to endorse her. So this is something I, call it an endorsement party because it's a way of helping to accelerate the number of endorsements you have for your skills, which in turn helps you with your job search. So that's what really we're trying to do here. Now, you may not have worked with Taya and you don't know firsthand that she has expertise in change management, executive management, and strategy, but she's a fellow job seeker. So this is a nice way of helping to support her in those areas that she deems to have expertise in. So if you're comfortable with doing it, I want you to go to her profile, click on endorse for her top 3 skills if you are connected to her already. If you're not yet connected to her, please send her an invitation. And then Taya, if I could ask you in the background to see those invitations as they're coming in, if you can accept them, then folks can go and give you some additional endorsements on here. So right now we have, let's see, change management, we have executive management, and we have strategy. This is weird. It used to say the number of endorsements, and now it's saying show 4 details. Kenneth, are you noticing this too? Did they change this? Oh, here it is. Endorsed by 10 people in the last 6 months, endorsed by 5. Does it not show the total number of endorsements anymore?
I've seen that this change. I don't know if it's a change for everyone or not, but yeah, that has changed. I think that's one of the many changes here.
Isn't it fun when LinkedIn changes something and they don't tell us, and then we who are independent coaches and trainers of LinkedIn, we discover it. And what I've been telling people all along, now I have to like revise my script because I just realized they changed it. It's the who moved my cheese theory of LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn changes features on here. At any rate, the methodology is this: if you have 99 plus endorsements for a skill, you'll come up to the top of search results. And what we were doing with Taya is moving her skills around, and we wanted to have her top 3 skills actually showing that she had endorsements on them and not to be too blank. So that's part of the reason I'm pulling her to the screen right now for this endorsement party. So let me refresh it and see if anything looks different about that right now. Yeah, it's just saying endorsed by 10 people, 5 colleagues, 6 colleagues. So hopefully this is helping you, Taya. I'm sure that folks will continue to do this throughout the call, but thank you so much. And by the way, Taya was one of the individuals who booked me for a 1-hour call. And I will remind everyone, I'm doing a special rate. I'm still continuing this for a little bit longer. At some point it'll go away and you click on the link and it won't be valid anymore. But my regular 1-hour rate for LinkedIn coaching is $250. And I'm doing a special rate for those of you who are on the call here today, $100 for a 1-hour session. It is recorded, you get a playback, and I pack a lot of good stuff into that 1 hour. So if you're interested, check that out. All right, Taya, thank you so much for being on the call. And
thank you, Brenda, and thank you everyone for
you're welcome
to me. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Absolutely. All right. Next up, I see Dana has raised her hand. So Dana Berger, did you have a question for us, a success story? How can we help you?
Yes, I have a question. I haven't posted much, and I'm going to work on that and start doing it more. But I did go ahead and post my resume on LinkedIn. I have just not been getting a lot. I'm getting minimal, if any, hits from recruiters that are legitimate for my job search. So I posted my resume, and I had a couple of people ask me about being able to repost it. And for whatever reason, wrong, Dana, for whatever reason, when I posted it, there's the option to like, but there's not the option to share or repost. I didn't do that on purpose, and I don't know how to fix it.
Okay, so can you see your profile on screen right now? In
No.
this list? Okay, what geographic area are you located in?
Atlanta.
So this is one of my little hacks. I'm going to type in first name, last name, and then the city name. Are you seeing your results coming up in here right now?
No.
Okay, did I spell your name right? Burgerdana.
Yep, it's
right?
BUR.
Okay, so this is a problem right now because I'm trying to search for you and I can't find you.
I
And I'm
don't
trying
even
to figure out
understand that.
what's going on. So did you drop your LinkedIn URL in chat? Would you mind dropping it in chat again for me? And I'm going to click on it from chat instead.
Let me grab that real quick.
Yeah. And I'm glad this happened. I always like to tell people we don't make mistakes. We have learning experiences. When things like this happen, I want to do a little bit of troubleshooting. And what I might even do, Dana, is I'm going to make you a co-host, because what I'm going to do after I click to find your profile is I'm going to have you share your screen, and we're going to look inside your public profile settings just to make sure there's nothing in there that is preventing people from visiting your profile on LinkedIn. So give me just a second to load this up. And then Dana, just be ready, because what we're going to do next is I'm going to have you share your screen with your profile. And then we're going to take a quick look at your privacy settings just to make sure there's no reason that you're not coming up. So, okay, I'm on your profile. So I'm not seeing anything that would, from your name field, prevent me from finding you. So are you okay with sharing your screen, Dana, so we can look at your back end real quick? Okay, so I'm going to stop my share. What you're going to do is in the Zoom window at the bottom, click on the green share screen button and share your LinkedIn profile. And we're going to take a quick peek in the upper right hand corner where it says public profile and URL. Could you click on that pencil icon there? Okay. And then we're going to scroll down on the right hand side. I'm just looking to see what might be preventing us from a visibility perspective. So your profile's public visibility is set to on. Your profile photo is set to public. Keep scrolling down. We're just looking to see, are all the buttons toggled to open? All right, I'm stumped. Like, why was she not coming up for me? Kenneth, do you have any hunches on why she might have not been coming up in search results?
I'm actually looking on the side here, actually, while you're doing it. And when I type Dana Berger, and I just, it's the second thing that comes up, but I think the comma is probably throwing it off. It says Dana Berger, comma, MBA.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm going to guess, because if I put Dana Berger, comma, just, give it a shot. I mean,
Hey, Brenda, Dana City is not Atlanta in the
well,
profile.
that's the other thing. It's Alpharetta, but even so, I'm just doing a search for people in the United States.
But Atlanta is still,
her name.
Atlanta is still the Alpharetta geographic area is Atlanta, right, Dana?
If you type Dana Berger under people, it does show up. Maybe it's, but it says Dana Berger, comma, MBA, comma. And
so you think the comma is throwing it off?
I don't know. I'm just
Or there may be extra spaces in her name somewhere that we just don't see.
Well,
I put Dana Berger, comma, and it's not coming up for me either, though.
I don't know, but that's an issue in and of itself. If you can't find,
I can't find you. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Not sure what the background noise was there. Just remind everyone to mute themselves. Sometimes we got little kids that come onto the camera because we're home. We're working from home, and we're home right now in there. All right. So I'm a little bit stumped onto why this is not coming up. There's nothing I'm seeing in here though, Dana. So that's a good thing. It's not like if there wasn't a setting here that says I can only, be seen by first level connections or things like that.
Yeah.
So it could have been, honestly, sometimes these are just LinkedIn hiccups, things that are coming up on here. Okay. So I apologize, but what was your question, Dana?
Okay.
Remind me about it.
Yep. I posted my resume on here.
Okay. Yeah.
And hang on. How do I get back to that? And people can like it, but they can't share or repost it.
Okay. Do you mind if I stop your screen share to share my screen again? Because then
Absolutely.
we're gonna see what we see, not what you see.
Yes.
You're kind of in the admin view of this. So first and foremost, I'm a bit concerned about sharing your resume. Did you share it as a post on LinkedIn?
I did.
Okay, I'm trying to find your activity section. Here it is. Show all comments. So let me go inside here. Part of the reason I'm hesitant about sharing resumes is you want to know who has access to that resume. And if you publicly share it as a post, it could fall into the wrong hands or people that might be preying on people who are job seekers is the best way I can say this. You know,
They're
like
doing
sometimes
that anyway.
Okay. Where did you share it? I'm not seeing it in your posts. Is it here in your experience section? Oh, here it is. Yeah. Okay. You know, you're not showing your home address, which is good. You have your phone number, you know, which is making it more accessible to people. There is a way in the back end of LinkedIn, like in the jobs section, that you can upload a local copy of your resume and then use that to apply to jobs. But I think I just want to ask the question, the goal for you to share your resume is you're looking to jumpstart your job search. Maybe you're just trying to accelerate where you're at. Is that right? And make it a little bit easier for people to get the resume?
Exactly. So I watch a lot of videos by different recruiters, and some say share, some say don't. I'm not getting proactively hit by recruiters, and it's been a few months. So my name, my phone number are completely public in here. I think in my about section, if you click more, it's in there so I don't get overlooked. You know, the resume, I just threw that on out there in case anybody wants to see it and not have to search, which is, you know, and there are two schools of thought, do and don't.
Yeah.
And because it's been a while, I went ahead and shared it. All the information is in LinkedIn anyway. So that's why I went ahead and did it.
It's a preference. And if you feel comfortable doing it, you can, but you know, they'll have to go to your experience section, see that it's here. And then if they wanted to download it, just so you know, when they get to the media section, they'll have to click on, I like to tell people it's the broken square in the lower right-hand corner. And then from there, you can click on the download button that appears there. So that's how they would download it. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky when we see document posts on there. Personally, I'm not a fan. If the goal is to accelerate your job search and visibility as a candidate, instead of making your resume available to everyone, what I would do is probably try the open to work on your profile, that green badge on your profile.
It didn't do anything either.
Okay. There's a couple of things that I'm noticing. Just to point out, problem solving is one of your hashtags. I think you're missing an L in the middle in there. That hashtag that you have in here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so just fix that. Nothing, I mean, I don't think that's going to cause you to lose a job opportunity, but it jumped out at me. Now I see that you have creator mode turned on. And I know that because you've got the hashtags at the top of your profile. New people like me visiting your profile, the default button is follow and not connect. You can still connect with Dana, but you have to know to go under the more button and click on connect. Or from mobile, there might say personalized invite. But Dana, are you once a week looking at your new followers to see if there are any potential connection opportunities?
Absolutely,
right now?
daily.
Okay, good. And is there a reason you turned on creator mode? Are you getting access to the additional tools, or was it to get the hashtags at the top? Or tell me about that.
All of the above. Again, I've worked with a lot of people, watched a lot of recruiter videos. When I was laid off, I was given an outplacement service and worked with the LinkedIn person there. And that was just part of the recommendation. And again, working with Al Smith. So most of what I've got done here is under the expertise of others and not myself. But yes, I definitely want to have those keywords up there in that section.
Okay. So Al, are you still on the call? If so, Al, I'm curious what your thoughts are on making the resume public on the profile. Are you able to unmute yourself, Al, if you're still here?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of having your resume on your LinkedIn profile. As you said earlier, there are ways to have a resume uploaded in the back end, so you can click, you know, the quick apply and so forth. I prefer somebody giving you a call and asking for your resume, because what's it called when you have a conversation with a recruiter? It's called an interview.
And yes, Al has advised against this. And whoever wrote to change it to Metropolitan Atlanta, yes, I've done that. And LinkedIn says you get more visibility if you actually use a zip code. Again, just about anything.
You have to keep the zip code on there in order to get the greater Atlanta metro area. But when you add in the zip code, you'll get a drop down option, and that broadens your search, the radius for search results. I'm going to give you one piece of advice in the header image, and then I'm going to turn the floor over to Linda because I see her hand is raised. Instead of saying let's connect, what if you were to say customer success manager?
I can, yeah.
Changing on there. Okay, Linda, what advice or what did you want to add to the conversation for Dana?
So the big thing to remember is that LinkedIn is generic. As Al said, and a number of people have said, you want people to reach out to you. You want to be able to customize your resume every single time you send it out to fit that particular job and that opportunity. So I never advise people to put a resume on LinkedIn. Sorry.
Thank you. So back to my original question, which is my post is when I made it, I didn't pick any particular way that I shared it, and it's coming up as not shareable. What do I need to fix?
I'm not seeing any posts right now. So
it's definitely out there.
Okay, was it a comment on somebody's post?
No, it was one that I created. And this might be the problem. I might have done it the wrong way.
Yeah, because I'm not seeing any posts. I don't know if anyone else is, it could be a LinkedIn hiccup that's happening here, but here's what I'm going to do just to test this out. I'm going to go to someone else's profile and grab the link for the activity feed. And I'm going to add that to the end of the string here. I guess it's the same. Recent activity equals all. I'm not seeing any posts from your activity feed here at all. Unless when you're posting, are you posting to share with your first level connections only?
No, it should be everyone, or at least that's what I believe I chose. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not seeing it. If anyone on the call is, feel free to unmute and say, hey, yeah, I'm seeing it. And maybe it's just you, Brenda, because you're not connected to Dana and she shared it with connections only, but I'm not seeing it on here. So I would say whatever it was that you posted. Are you seeing it, Nicole?
I'm seeing it on the app. Yes. As soon as I went into her, what's it called? The thingamabob with the stuff
the
in
activity
it, the profile.
Feed?
The profile,
Yeah.
yes. I went in the profile, and when I went into the profile underneath experience, then I'm seeing it pop up. I'm not.
You're talking about her resume, but we're talking about Dana says that she did a post on LinkedIn, and we're looking for
that resume was in a post.
I got so excited. I thought I found it.
Yeah.
All
right. So Dana,
should she delete that post that has her resume out there? Should she delete that post? Can she do that?
She can, but well, it's not, I'm not seeing it as a post right now. Dana, can you share your screen one more time? And let's look at your activity feed from your view and see if we're seeing it. I'm only seeing her resume in her experience section. I'm not seeing it in a post. And I'm just going to let everyone know, we might go about 5 minutes over on the call here today. We're going to go to Andrew next because he has his hand raised before we wrap up. So at the bottom, click on show all posts. Okay, so I see what's happening. Click on show all posts at the bottom where it says activity. There's a show all posts section. Click on that. Okay, so see where next to it says 1 week ago and there's like 2 little people avatars inside there. Stay where you are right now. I'm going to circle it. Don't move your screen. Stay where you are. I'm going to circle. See where these 2 little people are right here in the icon, Dana? Do you see what I'm circling on screen?
Yes.
So what that means is you are sharing it with your connections only. So the only people who can see that post are people that you have connected with that are first level connections. Okay.
I need to fix that. So you see right below the post how it's got like and comment, but it's not shareable and people can't send it.
That is because it is being shared with connections only.
Yeah.
If you were to post it publicly, then you would get that icon up. Is that right, Kenneth? I see you just came up in my view.
Well, I put this in. I said, check your settings on this, or when you do a post, it gives you the option whether you're going to post it to everyone or just your connections. So when you create because I did a test on this, as you know, Brenda, I did some to everyone, some to just my local connections. So when you create a post, that's the option to everyone or just your connections or no one, basically. So that's an easy thing to check.
I was going to second that because I'm connected to Dana and I saw the same view that she sees, but I was going to tell you, Brenda, it's because she must have only said connections. That's why you cannot see.
Thank you all for checking. Yeah, and that was unintentional and I thought I had done it right. So Really appreciate y'all doing that for me. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Thank you, Dana, for letting us work through that together, because then it allowed us to kind of troubleshoot and figure things out. So thank you for that.
Appreciate the help.
All right, and we are going to go a little bit over. Andrew has his hand raised, and I just saw David Mills message me and said, hey, I've had my hand raised for a while too. David will cover your question after Andrew, and then we'll start to wrap up. So thank you for your patience. Andrew, how are you doing today, and how can we help you?
Good morning, Brenda. Good morning, everyone. Just a quick question. How do you all handle, I guess, this suspicious or questionable LinkedIn invitations? I got one last night, and it was just literally, hi, nice to meet you through LinkedIn. And I looked at it, and it's like the person was from Seattle, but everything that the person had was Stockholm University and stuff in Sweden. It's like, okay. And only 98 connections. It's like, and when I messaged her, she said, well, you were a recommended LinkedIn connection. And it's
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
how do you value that? It's like, my gut's telling me no.
Yeah, if your gut's telling you no, you click on ignore. And what I will say is, if you've messaged them, you've opened the messaging door, and now they can continue to message you. If you click on ignore and don't talk to them anymore, they should get the hint and go away. If they continue to message you, what I would do is report the profile to LinkedIn. If something seems off, just report it to LinkedIn and let LinkedIn take a look at it. It'll be like an automated look over. But what happens is, if multiple people are reporting a profile for looking suspicious or like a fake account or whatever the option is that you choose on there, LinkedIn will look at it. And if they're seeing a pattern of behavior and they're seeing that things are mismatching, you know, they've got their fancy software for figuring out if someone's a bot or not. And they'll also notify the person and take care of it. So if I were you, I would just not message them anymore, ignore the invitation, click on I don't know this person, because that'll kind of raise some flags from LinkedIn too. I think you have to get like 3 or 5 of those, but just click on it because it's a little bit peculiar. Because the messaging door has been open because you've messaged them already, if they continue to message you, I would just block them. Don't continue conversation with them. And then you can alternatively, notify LinkedIn, report the profile for them. But
Yeah,
I would say trust your gut on this one, Andrew.
Yeah, no, I just didn't. I'm sure you and others receive numerous, and I just didn't know if there was a way that you use to tell, okay, that's real, that's fake.
Yeah, I think you're doing exactly what I do. I look for mismatched information on their profile. They say they're in Metro Detroit, but all of their experiences are in another country. Sometimes I look at education. Sometimes it just doesn't match up. They say they went to Harvard University and they are the store manager for Staples or something. I'm like, that doesn't match up. That doesn't match up with what they're looking for. And there's certain job titles and categories like government employees or working in the Army, like things like that. I'm like, this doesn't match up at all. And something feels very off about it. When in doubt, don't respond back, ignore it. And by the way, for anybody who gets creepy people who think that LinkedIn is eHarmony or Tinder or anything like that, report them to LinkedIn, notify common connections, and then block them. Don't even engage on there. It doesn't happen that often. It happens to both men and women, but we want to keep this a professional networking platform. So, Andrew, was that helpful for you?
Very much so. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay. We're going to pull up now David Mills. I'm not sure if you're able to be camera on or not, but David Mills, you are next. So what question or maybe success story, what did you want to share with us, David?
Thank you. I'm glad to finally be recognized here. I don't have much of a success story, but I did want to mention, if nothing else, I'm getting more views than I used to. Used to be like 10 or less. Now I'm 100, either side of 100 by 30 views or so. And I think that's due to your help on optimizing my profile and things like that.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, David. And can you remind us,
visibility.
what is your targeted job title and your targeted geographic area, if you could remind us about that?
Greater Boston.
Mm-hmm.
The larger metropolitan area of Boston, I guess. And I'm looking into data analysis and market research jobs.
Good. Okay. And I'm going to pull David's profile up on screen here.
Yeah,
and I just want to go to your activity feed because you said you're getting, is it more profile views or your posts are getting more views, or is it both?
More profile views. Some posts get views. It all depends which ones. Like
Okay, good. And I see, David, your latest post was 2 days ago on LinkedIn. You got the certificate from the boot camp program, and I haven't even replied back. I think you tagged me in the post, and I'm just going to thanks for sharing this along. What is one key takeaway you learned from this program? I know you learned more than one, but I'm going to ask you this.
Okay.
And what I'm doing with that technique is I'm adding a thoughtful comment to David's post, which is helping to broadcast the post out to more people, which in turn will help David to get in front of more recruiters and hiring managers. And every time somebody touches or interacts with the post, whether it's a like, a comment, a reply back, this is going to help David to get more visibility for himself. So I'm going to take the liberties right now of putting your post link into the comments, and I'm going to ask, we've got little under 50 people on the call right now, but I'm going to ask those of you who are still on the call, please visit this link and please add a thoughtful comment, or at bare minimum, give it a like or a reaction to help David to get some additional visibility, if you wouldn't
While
mind.
we're here, can we check on my profile views? I'm not exactly sure where to go look for.
Well, profile views, I won't be able to see from my perspective. That would only be on your profile on there. But I think the fact that you're getting more views is good. And if you want to generate more views for David and for others, here's what you need to do. You need to optimize your profile for your LinkedIn goals. So if you're looking for a job, you need to make sure you have your job title in the headline field. You also need to make sure that your about statement is written to appeal to your next employer, your next hiring manager in there. You need to make sure that all the fields are filled out. We're using 50 skills. You know, there's a lot of coverage items that you need to cover in there. And then also you need to be posting regularly and also engaging with others regularly on the platform. Those things combined will help you to really increase your profile views, hopefully leading you to your dream job. That's the goal, David, right?
What I don't have yet is recruiters banging my door down to bring me on, but hopefully that comes.
Yeah. Well, keep up the good work. I'm really happy to hear from you, David.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your patience. Did anyone else like David have their hand raised for a while, and maybe you didn't have your video on and I didn't see you? Dana, I see your hand was raised, but I think that's residual hand raised left over from earlier. Was there anyone else that had their hand raised for a while, or that had something to share? And I didn't call on you yet. Any success stories or anything like that? All right. If not, the time is now 11:07. So I want to start to wrap us up for today. First and foremost, I want to thank my helpers for the call. I like to call you guys all stars. Excuse me, little frog. For helping me in the background. People like Christopher and Julia and Kenneth and Mindy and Sue, and I'm forgetting, who else am I forgetting? Al. I don't know. Everybody who's helped out with the Q&A for today. Joey in there as well. And I want to thank all of you for making this a part of your Friday. I will remind you again, this is temporary. This is just a little blip. Remember, you're the frosting in the middle of the Oreo right now, my friend. You're just in between successes. This is a time in your life that is temporary. And I want you to know that you are not alone. I know when you're in career transition, it can be a roller coaster of emotions, coming from being angry and resentful for what happened to you, to maybe being relieved because you're out of a stressful situation, to feeling great one day because you can go out and walk your dog and eat breakfast without getting stuck in rush hour traffic. And then the next day you got a bill that's due and you're looking at your unemployment checks and you're realizing there's a gap. So it's a roller coaster of emotions that you're going through. I want to remind you that while you do need to apply through the job boards, that is not the only way. Sometimes you can feel like that's the black hole of job search, and I am passionate about my hatred for the black hole of job search. So I want to remind you that in addition to applying through the job boards, connect with each other on LinkedIn. Get active by posting on LinkedIn. Share tips that are relevant to your area of expertise. Maybe share an inspirational quote, put that out there. Maybe share a post telling people what you're looking for. Make sure that you're positive in that post. You don't want to blast your former employer. You want to be positive about you're excited to be looking for your new opportunity. Tell people your targeted job title. Tell people your targeted geographic area and ask them to comment below and help to spread the word. There may be people in your network who are willing and want to help you, but they don't know that you're looking. So if you post about it, that's a good way of jumpstarting that. This will be our last weekly call, but we are going to be meeting on the first Friday of the month. So actually, we are going to be meeting next week on Friday, August 4th. And the Friday VIP Job Seeker office hours are going to monthly. This group will always be the first Friday of the month. And Julia, if you're still on here, can you remind me, did we just change the Zoom link to be weekly so they don't have to re-register? I think is how we did it. Can you help to confirm that, Julia? Are you able to unmute yourself?
Yeah, I can check right now.
Okay, we'll double check on that. I will send you another email just to let all of you know that you don't need to re-register if that is the case. And as always, if you see anyone on LinkedIn that posts that talks about recently being laid off or really struggling with their job search, just tag me in on the comments and just say @Brenda Meller may have some resources that can help. That's kind of like your way of winking to me, and I'll wink back and I'll say, thanks for tagging me in, and I will drop the link so that they can join our Friday VIP office hours call. So thank you all so much for being on here today. Congratulations to those of you that are getting interviews and getting jobs. And for the rest of you, they'll be your day someday. You'll be sharing your success story with us as well. So stay positive, stay hopeful. And again, once again, thank you so much for making this a part of your Friday. With that said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the YouTube live.